studies that is the most important in life. It is the time between the ages of birth to 6 years. I'm going to show you a few photographs to help you understand the importance of these years. That the way these children are taught during these early years, whether it is in our Anganwadis or whether it is in our private school. I would like to state at the beginning only, I'm against educators in conferences who use that there are two kinds of India, Bharat and India. There is only one India. And children cannot be divided on the basis of Bharat and India, poor and rich, Anganwadis and private preschools. It is our misfortune that so many of our children are not getting the education that they should deserve. So it is very important for all of us to come together and ensure that. These photographs are from a school in Italy, which highlights that if you have a good educator, even a child, this child is just 18 months old. And when we say that it is the brain development period, let's look at these photographs, what's happening. This child is flipping a magazine. There's a teacher sitting next to this child. The child pauses when he sees the photograph of a watch. And then look at what the child does. The child points to the picture and looks inquiringly at the teacher. The teacher doesn't say much. The teacher shows the watch to the child that she is wearing. Had it been us, the tiger moms and tiger dads and the tiger teachers, at this point we would have started teaching the child, this is a teachable moment. इसको क्या बोलते हैं? इसको watch बोलते हैं, watch बोलो watch, phonics बोलो we would have started all that. This teacher was a trained teacher, she did not do that. She then made the child hear the sound of the watch. And what happens next is the stamp that we all need to understand that good teaching can lead to what kind of learning. The child connected that if this picture is of a watch and what the teacher has shown me is a watch, if this has a sound, then this picture also must be having a sound. This is inquiry. The child now put 2 and 2 together and is now questioning, thinking, connecting. This is the power of brain development in the early years if it is harnessed well. But where would we have lost it? We would have lost it somewhere here. Right or wrong? And the child would have got up and gone away and we would have missed out on a lovely teaching opportunity. So why are the early years important? Tell me, after looking at this slide, which of these is not important in an adult's life? Can anybody tell me if this is not important? Is it important or not? Do we want our teenagers and adults to grow up with this? Well, the foundation of this is laid in the birth to 6 years age group. It is at that age that all this is learnt by children. So it is very important for us to understand. My first question when I came, I am here to represent the 400 million children in this country. The children, less than 1/3 of these children get early childhood education. Less than 1/3. And that is something that we should be looking into. As early childhood educators, policy makers, ministers, we all need to understand and read the James Heckman report. He's a Nobel laureate and it is his work that other countries have adopted, and it is his work that says, he says 3 points. Invest in early years, invest in ensuring that the disadvantaged children get early years programs. And the third thing he says is, do not focus only on cognitive skills. Please have a curriculum that has life skills plus cognitive skills. That is the James Heckman thing. James Heckman has also said and guided many countries that if you invest $1 in early years, you will get $7 in return. So there is a return on investment. And this is how it works. If you see, the more you invest in early years, the more the return. The later you invest, because you've not given the children the foundation, you won't get your return on investment. So it is very important for us to understand James Heckman, what is that theory and how we should be implementing it in our Anganwadis and in our private preschools. It is not all about shosha, bringing the best. It's about how these children are taught and how these children learn and how are they nurtured. It's very important for us to understand. Last point is very important. When social skills are combined at an early age with cognitive skills, they create more capable and productive citizens. Ultimately, what is the goal of education? We want citizens who can contribute to this country. But then you can't start education at the age of 6. You will have to start education at the age of 3, not the education that you and I are used to. Not rote learning ABCDs and addition and subtraction. You need to teach them life skills. We need to go back to what Montessori taught me. We need to go back to what Gijubai Badeka taught. And we need to prepare them to understand first self-learning, and then they will contribute to this nation. Can I have that back? So, we have the ASER report. It's called actually the ASER, the annual. Come on, you all are educators, you all should know this and you all should read this report every year. It's the annual status of education report. I call it ASER because it is not having any ASER, that report, because we are not studying that report and understanding and finding solutions. ASER report always says that our 4th standard children are not able to read a book of a 2nd standard child. Our 7th standard children are not able to do addition meant for a 2nd standard child. Why is this happening? It is happening because these children joined school at the age of 6, when 90% of the brain was already developed. These children need to have readiness, reading readiness, writing readiness, number readiness, and that foundation can only be laid in 3 to 6 years. I can challenge the ASER report that if India starts investing in the 3 to 6 years age group, the ASER report will change. You cannot start reading with sentences. You need word recognition. You need picture recognition. And that is why we are failing. We all want to go to Finland and study why they are coming high in the PISA. But Finland does not introduce writing till the age of 7. Tell me, my friends, will you all be ready for that? We don't want to change that, but we want to go and give the PISA exam. We will have to make changes. And I'm very happy with the new NCERT curriculum. NCERT has come out with an ECE curriculum. It is one of the best that this country has ever come out with, and I think we should give a huge round of applause to the NCERT. Because for the first time, we have a curriculum that says play way, play based. And it's this curriculum that should be implemented, sir, in our Anganwadis and in our other private schools. This is something that America learned. A New York Times article's headline was, should we invest in prisons or preschools? And that article came because of this man. He's a governor, and this man said that we can tackle poverty in 2 ways. Either at the front end when children are young, or at the fag end when they've already grown up and we can do nothing about it. Choice is ours. Do we want to invest in prisons? Because these children are not getting a good foundation. They are dropping out from school because they are not able to cope up with the education, because they've not got an early childhood foundation. My topic was early childhood education ROI. So my question to all of you all is, does it make sense to invest in early years? I think the mistake that we are doing as a country is that we are still now looking at education only as welfare or education. It's time to look at it as how it is going to impact our economy. We have this huge dream to be the largest economy in the world. But to do that, we will have to think of our youngest citizens. And we will have to think about all our youngest citizens. Because should where you are born decide where you would be? Is it fair? Because this is what is happening today to the children in our ICDS program and in our private preschools programs. It's not fair. These children are starting with a drawback because they have not received. See, our Anganwadis were not conceived to be early childhood centers. They were conceived to be for nutrition and health. Education has recently been included there, and the teachers, the Anganwadi Sevikas are not trained for it. So it is very important for us to understand as a country, as educators, that we need to support the Anganwadis. We need to support early childhood care and education in this country. We all have the money to do that. We all have the resources to do that. All we need is the will to do that. We are a country right now which loves slogans, and we have proved many slogans correct. And my one slogan today is Sabka Bhala to Desh Ka Vikas. And I would like to add there Sab Bachcho Ka Bhala to Desh Ka Vikas. And that is what we need to aim on. What does the ECE sector require? This is what it requires. It requires a well-researched, developmentally appropriate curriculum. It requires playway learning. It requires readiness activities. It requires training for teachers. It requires a strong parent partnership. Because you will have to change the mindset of parents. I see so many private preschools telling me, हम change नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि parents को कौन समझाएगा? Well, we are the educators, हमें समझाना चाहिए उनको. Then you are not worth your salt as an educator if you can't convince a parent about what's right or what's wrong for their child. And that is the need of the hour. We don't stop there. Just having a quality early childhood program is not going to help. James Heckman said, invest, develop, sustain it in the primary years. And only when you will sustain it in the primary years will you gain. This is the ROI of investing in the early years. How many of you sitting in this audience have read Divaswapna? Written by one of the most pioneering educationists of this country called Gijubai Badeka. But not many educators have read about him. Please pick up this book. It's called Once Upon a Story. It's about the life and work of Gijubai Badeka. And if you see the National Education Policy draft, it has most of the points taken from him. Our gentleman there who had such a wonderful performance here this morning reminded me of Gijubai Badeka. This is what Gijubai Badeka writes in his book. That we may not have money to make government schools. Fine. You don't need walls and roofs to make a good education. That's what Tagore has already proven to us with Shantiniketan. But look at what he's saying in his book. He's saying that it is very important the values that we give to these children. Right now we are all struggling with whiteboard kiske usme hai, CCTV kisme hai. I think we've got completely waylaid. And we are not focusing on the Guru Shiksha Padhati. That is very important. It needs to be brought back, especially in the early years. We need committed people giving the quality education that these children deserve. And my last slide, I'm always on time. My last slide is for our Excellency, our most favorite governor. Sir, let Punjab be the first state that has this ministry. Because it is very important that if we want our children to be taken care of, we cannot leave their care between two ministries. Right now we have Women and Child Development Ministry and HRD Ministry taking care of the early years. If we had a separate early childhood ministry, we would be able to do so much more for the 400 million children in this country. Google after my session, 400 million is the population of how many countries in the world? It's that many countries that are right now growing up in this country, because it is from those 400 million that you will get the next Prime Minister and President of other countries in the world. Because that is the capacity of India. So I thank you all, and I especially thank our respected Governor for being here with us this morning and listening to the voice of 400 million children. I would like to give a small gift to Shri Badnorji, which stands for knowledge in our country, and I hope this message goes strongly to him, sir.
Thank you, His Excellency. Thank you, Swati ma'am, for this wonderful session. May I please request Dr. Jagpreet Singh to felicitate Dr. Swati Popat Vats. Can we have a huge round of applause going on?